Welcome to Season 10 of the More Than Sunday podcast. I'm Rohini Drake, your host, and in this season, which we've been calling Love Served Here, we took the show on the road to visit with some of your favorite local restaurants to hear stories of how they are growing community around food. And as we've learned from them and heard some of their secrets, we've been able to use some of those as we grow community in our own lives and in our own spaces. In this episode, Pastor Clayton and I visit Jeng Chi, a longtime favorite of those local here in Richardson. And we got to sit down with Janelle and Francisco Tang, who are the co-owners, and also very special guests, Juan and May Tang, who are the founders. In this conversation, they shared stories of how Jeng Chi came to be here in Richardson and how Jeng Chi might have been the foundation of a vibrant Chinatown here in Richardson. They also shared a very special treat with us called mooncakes. And if you're like me and didn't know what a mooncake was and the beautiful story and history of why mooncakes are consumed in the fall of every year, I hope you listen and learn and enjoy the beautiful conversation. Well, we're so glad that you are taking this time. I know that y'all are busy, but we're not joking when we say Jeng Chi is one of our favorite restaurants. And as we decided to do this podcast season about food and community, like you are one of the restaurants at the top of the list in Richardson of doing community well around food. And so I just wonder if you would share a little bit about why Jeng Chi? Why here? What's the history? When did it start? What was the inspiration, I guess?
现在他们是问你们，为什么要再来 Dallas 来这个地方？
我要讲吗？讲英文吗？
你可以讲吗？
怎么说呢？It's 1985. I came here, but I think the Richardson here, this locale is very good. I have a lot of people in the New York and San Francisco. They want I move there because of my friend. But I think there have a lot of person. It's like for my kids here is more safe. I thinking. I have no idea, but I still choice in here because I have a sister study in the Dallas. 那个叫什么?
UTD.
Yeah, UTD. That's the reason I'm stay here.
Oh, okay. And what year was that?
1985.
1985.
Yes.
That's when we came to the United States.
Okay. And then so how long from then to deciding you wanted to start Jeng Chi?
Oh, I think 5 years. Right?
1990.
1990.
Because I need to find one job, can survive, take care of my kids. I have nothing I can do, but I can make a very good food. That's the reason I think much better in this ham, like a restaurant, even very small restaurant, I can do best for myself.
So what did that look like in 1990? You can make good food. What did that food look like?
The food?
Yes. Was it the traditional menu that we're used to now, or is it something
because
different?
I'm so Chinese northern part. We have a very good like a dough stuff, Then I can make a very good like xiaolongbao, steamed dumpling, any kind I know, like a pancake, whatever. It's easy for me that I think I will do that.
So did it look like what it looks like now, this big restaurant, or was it?
Even have no menu.
No menu.
So small one. But I have a lot of customer.
Okay. Was it mostly Chinese people that were coming to your restaurant?
Usually, I think I have 199% Chinese. Then after 1 year, 2 years later, then I have more American customer. Then little by little, right now, I have more like American customer.
Tell us about your journey from mainland China to here and the stops in between. Tell us about that.
My daddy, mommy is mainland China, but after 1940 something, they started Second World. Then it's so confusing. It died a lot of people. Then my papa and mommy make a decision, move for the outside. But we have another island. It's called Taiwan. It's Chinese also. Then we move there. Then after move there, when I like almost 20 years, then I married with my husband. Then I still have one baby, but I still want to move outside because so small, everybody's scared. Then Chinese communicate, why come into Taiwan, will take us. Then his family almost died with the China communist, you know. If you don't obey, then you don't want to do everything they want, they kill you. Then the dad is so scared, said right now, the time you go outside. That's the reason we first choice go to the Brazil, because Brazil, for take the visa is more easy. That's the reason why we moved to the Brazil. After, you know, more than 17 years later, the inflation, there are lots of inflation. You make the money, then you make it go down. You make it go down. You never have the money. That's the reason I say the time to go to America. Because my family, I have 5 sisters, everybody living in America. I come here for visit my sister. I say that at least I can be waitress. Then she has a restaurant even the Clayton is her customer in the Little Rock. Yeah, I saw that his business is very good. I think, I can do that.
And then you did. You came to Richardson and you did.
Yeah.
Well, can you tell us a little bit more then from how you went from the small restaurant in 1990 with no menu, just the dough products, to kind of what we see now in this restaurant that we're in right now?
My son can do everything so beautiful. For me, no way.
Well, the transition was, my parents were coming of age, right? And back in the days, I was, even though we grew up and we opened the Jeng Chi together, I ended up going to school and going to UNT. So then I tried to follow the corporate world, worked for Fossil. But then, I don't know, corporate world is hard. It's a little sterile, and something more dynamic. And that's when I decided to come back to the family business. And at that point, they were doing well. Jeng Chi had expanded when we originally was 1,000 square foot, and it has expanded to 2,000 and 3,000 square foot while I was gone. So when I came back, things were getting better, but we couldn't get any more space because the neighbors were not going to move. So when we had talked to the landlord, and the landlord said that there was this space available, but it was we just needed a little bit more, not more than double the size. But the opportunity was great, and I had great support from my family and Janelle, and we decided to give it a shot.
One of the things I love about coming here with my family is sitting around those big round tables. We have a big family, and their significant others, and being around that table together and sharing the food. Tell us about that and the family style that you serve, and tell us about that experience for families here, because it's really, to me, it's one of the things that makes this a very special place.
Yeah, it's Asian people have that kind of setup, right? The whole idea is to eat together and share the meal, and also face each other, to where you can talk. But when we opened the restaurants, it was really hard for us to find, such tables. So we ended up having to make it.
Yeah, so there's some negotiation between the two of us about how big should these tables be.
Yes.
because they were made in our house. And how many chairs could we put around these tables? What would be the right magic number? And so that's how we arrived at the size.
We're originally a family of 5, and we always joke about going to restaurants, and it's always 4. The tables are always for 4, and we have 5, and then now 8 with significant others that have joined our kids. And so this is perfect.
Oh, great.
And we love it. And we love the family style meals, sharing the food, and everyone gets their favorite, and then we all share.
Yeah, this is something very important for us, right? I mean, as a business, our employees, we have lunch hour, and then we all sit together and have meal together. We still do that,
Love that.
even though we have grown, it's an important part to keep everybody together, as a unit.
Family time around the table. There's something magic about food and family around a table together and
It sure
friends.
is. Mhm.
Yeah.
You mentioned a little bit about how your patrons, when you first started in 1990, mostly Chinese families that would come. And then now I've come to Jeng Chi and it's everybody. And one of the great things I was mentioning before is that I hadn't had dumplings until I came here, and the wait staff was so friendly and helpful and told me exactly how to do it. They didn't make me feel like, oh, how could you even come here and you've never had a dumpling? They were very generous with their advice and told me how to do it. And so I'm wondering if you've seen kind of an evolution of your patrons here, from the smaller restaurant to now this bigger space, and if that's even reflected the way that Richardson has changed and the diversity in the people.
I wasn't here in 1990 when we opened, so the stories resonate with me about the customers then. But in 2013, when we moved here to this larger location, we had a pretty good combination. Maybe half of our customers were Chinese, and maybe half of them were American or Westernized customers. And what it looks like now is some days it might be 80% and some days 20%. It fluctuates with the season. It fluctuates with holidays, and the big picture over the last 11 years is it's beginning to reflect even a little bit more our neighbors who are moving in the Abrams, Spring Valley area. They are starting to join us here in this community in Chinatown. So it's pretty cool to see it's still evolving.
Yeah, that is really cool. It's one of the things I like so much about Jeng Chi and Richardson, that you are with the community everywhere that you go. And so it's not just for a certain group of people, that you're so open and inviting, and even have an education piece every time that I come in here and I learn something new, either about the food or about the tea. And I'm sure that other people who come to have lunch or dinner here experience the same thing.
We hope so.
You kind of mentioned that, there's been history with being in Brazil, had a candy shop, and then Jeng Chi serves traditional Chinese, Taiwanese food. How have you been able to keep that kind of authentic food? Or has there been any kind of fusions with that as you've lived and worked here in Richardson?
I mean, everything evolves, right? My family actually, they come from a food business. My grandfather actually opened the first food or Jeng Chi in Taiwan.
Oh.
So this whole thing has been a family journey. So my grandfather he had many food business, and then so they grew up making the mooncakes and all that. Right. So when we went to Brazil, my father actually had a bakery in Brazil in which he made cookies and candies, and And towards the later time in Brazil, we even had a deli. It had sold hamburgers for a short bit of time and things like that. And then when we came here, we also got close into food. But as we expanded and stuff, me and my mother have gone back to Taiwan to see what's happening there, right? To bring new food and new items here so we can stay relevant and not like the old Chinese restaurant that never progresses. We wanted to evolve as a Chinese restaurant, but not so much as becoming Americanized, but becoming more progressive and stay relevant with the tradition. So.
Oh, that's really cool to hear that there is the evolution of that.
I had a friend that worked in the Peace Corps and lived in China for several years. And she came through town and she said, "Do you know any place I can get authentic Chinese food?" And I said, "I just happen to know." And I said, "If you'll go right across the expressway over here to Greenville Avenue to Chinatown, there's a restaurant called Jeng Chi." And so later that day, she contacted me and she said, "That's the most authentic Chinese food I've had in the United States anywhere." It's like, well, they are from China. They know what they're doing.
Thank you. It's under my mother-in-law's watchful eye that we stay the course with our entrees.
Now, when I come here, this whole building until ending, they started only here, Jeng Chi, nobody, empty. The building, nobody.
It was the shopping center back in the days was a standard like American shopping center, right? The Greyhound bus station was at the end, right? There was a pottery like next to us, right? They sold pots. So it was not a Chinatown, but that's the evolution of the shopping center. At that time, we were one of the first ones. I think the Canton was here. That was the only other one, but that was it, right? There was only like 2 Asian restaurants. And then slowly, more and more people start coming, and then more and more, and then slowly this thing became, because back in the days, Richardson was the hub for Asians. Most Asian parents followed the school district, and Richardson had a larger Asian community. I think Arlington had a small one, but Richardson had a small one too. And then slowly this place progressed also and evolved as a Chinatown.
Wow. Well, we're really grateful for Jeng Chi for anchoring that and creating
I
this.
talked to the landlord here. You need to appreciate me. Me. Look at this building.
Francisco, you mentioned a little bit ago about the mooncakes, and so I'm wondering if that's something that your family would like to share with us and tell us a bit about the history and the significance of mooncakes and the celebration in this time of year for
爷爷
you all.
哪个时候开始做月饼？
人气
爷爷哪个时候开始做月饼？
1948年
Yeah, 1949.
在台湾。
台湾
Yeah, in Taiwan, my grandfather actually started in 1949. It was a bakery, right?
No bakery. We make the wholesale, like any kind of cookie, then mooncake, and like China, you the mooncake day, have the 端午节, you make another kind, different kind of food for the seasonal.
So it's like a cookie manufacturer. So that's where it started.
For the mooncakes?
For the
Okay.
mooncakes.
We
Right?
sell a lot of mooncake there. They at least 1 year mooncake have 140,000 mooncake.
Whoa, it's a lot of mooncakes.
Yeah, a lot of mooncake.
140,000.
140,000.
Wow.
I love.
They used to make a lot of mooncake. But back in the days, it was after the war. So there wasn't a lot around, right? So it wasn't like everything was in shambles throughout Asia. So he was one of the first ones that start creating business. And if you could do that back in the days, you supplied a large number of people, right? So yeah, they used to make a lot of stuff.
So is that something that kind of came from Taiwan? and then you replicate it here now, or is it tied to a season or a celebration?
Well, it is tied to the harvest moon, right? We're celebrating the harvest moon. Although many parts in the world, cultures celebrates that, and that's our version of it, right? So this is the time that you give thanks for all the harvest and all that throughout, the year. So.
Yeah. Yeah, families come together and celebrate the bounty, celebrate unity, give prayers for new babies and new marriages. And a part of that celebration is the gift giving of the mooncake. And my father-in-law's passion.
And is the passion to make the mooncakes or to just share the mooncakes?
Oh, I think his passion is to make. I mean, he's here at I don't know what time he came here, but he averages 4:00 in the morning, 3:00 in the morning. Sometimes he even spends the night here. We're like, what are you doing? Go home, go to bed. But he is so anxious about doing it and doing the right way and going through all that. Yeah, he's the first one here, actually, at his age.
Wow. Well, would you tell us about the mooncakes, like what it takes to make them and why you have to be there so early?
爸爸能够要做好的100%都
他在
correct。
问爸爸。
他问你为什么来那么早？他问你为什么来这么早？
你要我是为了我的工作做得非常好，所以我早的来可以做得比较完美。
She said that he needed working is perfect, 100%. That's the reason why he comes see earlier. He pay attention, but prepared that way.
So it's kneading the dough?
Yeah,
And that's
start the dough until filling everything.
Oh, wow. Well, I'm wondering would you guys show us the mooncakes and maybe we could try
It would be our
mooncakes?
pleasure to share mooncake with you.
Yay. So how many different types of mooncakes are there? Are there different flavors or versions?
Well, there's different flavors and versions. Like when my mom said that she used to sell 140,000, actually that version, it's we do sell it here. It's called, it's like a cookie, right? So we have the crunchy kind, we have the soft kind, and now we also have 1,000 layer, the flaky kind, right? The ones that she used to make was actually the hard cookie kind.
Okay.
But here in the U.S., seems like most of our clientele likes the Cantonese kind, which is a soft cookie kind.
Soft cookie kind. Okay.
And then at first, even though we sell all of them, the traditional flavors are what most people would think, like red bean, dates, and lotus with yolk or chew, or other things like walnut and things like that. But
that is beautiful.
It's something very traditional.
Yeah.
And a lot of American clientele, it takes a little bit of time for them to get used to it. And plus, a lot of people don't think as red bean as a dessert or something like that. So part of what we do here is make food. So since then, we have expanded into a lot of American flavors like chocolate. And candy lemon, like coffee, rum raisin with walnuts, like passion fruit or mango, and other kinds of more Americanized, because my father makes the very traditional items. But, I thought that, well, a better way to bridge the gap by introducing, flavors that people would be more openly receptive to it. And then maybe they can become more courageous and, and they start trying the more very authentic
Yes.
item because we have mung bean with pork and shallots, right? Kind of
wow.
like savory sweet. We got like black sesame. We got something that is very traditional, then most people would go, maybe take a second.
Yeah,
before they
maybe not the
used to it.
first thing they jump into, but
Yeah.
make their way there.
But coconut, pineapple, mango, passion fruit, those are all very familiar to us.
Mhm.
And so it's a nice way to ease our Western guests
Yes.
into trying something very traditional that's been shared for thousands of years in the Chinese
like
community.
the date, my father gets the date, he steams it, he rubs the skin, the seed out, he's like sits there and cook the date paste like down, which take hours and hours, right? So, and it's hot and bubbly, and then also, but he goes through the whole entire process that takes days.
It's like an art form. I mean,
It
it
is.
really is an artistic expression to.
It is. It is. It's and then we knock them the old way, right? All mooncakes nowadays are made by machine, because it's kind of like but we actually do this by hand. And in order to put them together and cast them, it requires it's a 5 people process. Yeah, one person that I'll make the dough in the morning, and then my father grabs the dough, and then he partitions the dough, and then we have Guadalupe. She makes them into a flat, and then my mom will sit there, and she will then enrobe because it's a filling, it's an inner filling and an outer filling, and then an outer shell, and then it's a ball, right? But then me and Hong will put this into a mold, a wooden mold, and we will squeeze it in there into this carved wooden mold. And then there's this process in which you get it out by knocking this mold. So if you hit the mold on its side, it loosens it up, and then eventually comes out with all these designs that makes the mooncake.
With the lotus flower on the top.
Yes, that's what's so beautiful too. And one of the things when I was trying to learn a little bit more about mooncakes, which I didn't know until we started talking about doing this episode with you all, is just what it means and kind of what you've shared earlier, that it's something that it's a gift that you give to someone as you celebrate and being grateful for things. And so I'm so glad that we can share a little bite of this together.
One of the, before we dive in, one of the tenets of our faith is to be a good neighbor. And I think Jeng Chi is a good neighbor and has much to teach all of us in our community about setting a table and opening your doors to people of all different races and languages and cultures, and to come and to share an experience together. And I think you just do a beautiful job of neighboring. So thank you.
Oh, thank you very much.
Thank you for saying so.
Yeah.
All right, shall we try this mooncake?
Let's do.
Yeah, tell us the best way to do this. Grab a piece.
要不要给他一个 napkin
Grab
啊
a piece.
纸啊纸啊
Yes.
Clayton, I'm gonna grab a piece. Grab a piece.
Yeah, so this is a very traditional. This is red bean with the salted yolk. So it's a salted duck yolk with a red bean paste and a soft cookie crust.
And is this just made during a season? So this isn't year round?
No, it's not, right? This is only for the season. We start about a month and a half or sometimes 2 months ahead of the season, and then we will make, and then we'll sell it at the most for a few more days after the date, but then we will totally, and then it's past the celebration, so they are removed, so.
It's just great.
Yeah.
Very good.
So yeah, this is something that it's very traditional,
Yeah,
so.
this is the bean paste.
Is this the red bean?
Yeah, the red
red
bean.
bean.
And most people don't think, and then it has the salted yolk, so it's a salty sweet, right? But yeah, it's very traditional.
I like the combination of salty and sweet.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Mm.
Very good.
They're so good. Thank you for sharing this with us.
Sure.
And for taking the time to chat with us and share more about your history here, creating Chinatown here in Richardson. And just how you've created such a beautiful space here for families to come together and enjoy really good food.
It has been our pleasure.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
thank you
you.
very much. Appreciate it.
After hearing the beautiful stories shared in this episode, if you're local in Richardson and haven't tried Jeng Chi yet, or maybe even if it's already one of your favorites, I hope you stop by to partake in their lovingly prepared and delicious food. For more information on where Jeng Chi is located, their hours, and even their menu, you can visit fumcr.com/morethansunday. We also invite you to our very first More Than Sunday podcast meetup, which will be happening at the end of the season. You'll also find more information about that gathering and if you want us to save you a seat at that website. I hope that you enjoyed this episode and that you tune in again next Wednesday for a new episode and a new restaurant as we find out more secrets in building community around food. I hope you have a great day.